I'm surprised to see a friend here at my alma mater talking about my career. Lol. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. Hey, how are you?
Good.
Subjects really don't matter, and even like a degree or whatever. So for me, it kind of happened by accident. Like I was doing it anyway, and then I realized you could get paid for it, type of thing. I did maths, art, and French at A level. I got a degree in architecture. Now I'm here. It's wide open. Like people fall into it at all ages and at all stages of life. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. Have a good evening. Hello and welcome. You're in the film with me, Julie, and today we're going to talk about how I've gotten into travel writing and potentially give you some tips if you're looking into doing the same thing. If you're new here, what's up? My name is Julie. I make a lot of travel content, some vlogs, some festival vibes, some chat about being a digital nomad and working remotely, like my last video you'll see over here. And I am also a freelance travel writer, which is one of my multiple gigs. So if you haven't yet, you can go and check out my remote jobs that I've had video, which I posted just a few days ago. You can hit the link here, or it'll be in the description. And I touched on travel writing as one of my earlier jobs, which I have been doing now for about 5 years, 4 or 5 years. And I'm really enjoying it. It's really something that I suppose came naturally in that I have had a blog for a long time, which naturally morphed from like a more lifestyle vibe into a travel focused one about 2016. And from that I've kind of found my footing in being a freelance writer for many different publications, a few other blogs, and I still will write content for my own blog just to do with places I've been to, cool stories from the road, etc, etc. So if you're into that, you'd like to know how I've done it and some stuff about the job, some facts and a few tips, then keep watching. And also if you are interested in becoming a travel writer or maybe just seeing if you could do it, seeing what you're capable of, then stick around till the end as I will be talking about a little challenge that I have devised that we can do together and work up our travel writing skills, muscles. So as far as what exactly travel writing is, I sort of touched on that in my previous video. Whereas with travel writing, I think that many people don't fully gauge what it is. First of all, it's not everyday marketing. I think that when I say that I'm a travel writer and I also have a travel blog, their sort of thing is like, oh, so you like write to market it, you like write to convince people to go there. Some writing is like that and some bloggers do that. For me, I'm sharing stories. I'm saying I went to Lesotho and I saw like a snow dance and then it actually started snowing 15 minutes after that. You can't replicate that, but you should go somewhere and be open to that kind of experience and you'll find your own story. That's really my viewpoint, you know what I mean? And I have also pulled up a few descriptions from around the interwebs as to what exactly travel writing is or entails, which is here. So generally, I will write some destination guides and some more narrative sort of things that happened to me or things that I happened upon while I was in XYZ place, and sometimes sort of more cultural observation sorts of things. If you'd like to see what I've had published before, I will put a link into the description of my portfolio of published work, and also just that's on my website, so you can also just hit the blog and see what blog posts I've written about different trips and things and places that I've been to. So how I got started, like I said, I had a blog for a very long time. This Frame Ambition as it is, I think I bought the domain in like 2015, but I had the blog, just not a different, on Blogspot way before that. So I think I actually started the blog as in with its whole backlog of posts and everything immediately after high school, which was 2011. Wow, that's a long time. Yeah. This is when I started blogging, but of course, as I said, it wasn't always travel focused. So I'd say my first travel blog posts were in 2015 or 2016, which was mostly just like, you know, what I got up to, where I stayed, what we did in my trips around South Africa, which is where I was living at the time. So from there, without really realizing, I suppose I was like practicing and getting into my voice as a writer in general, and as a travel writer specifically. And from then on, I started landing more remote jobs from different websites and everything. Again, more about that in the remote work video. And I think after a while, after just seeing what was available and on the different types of writing and the publications that you could write for, I sort of started making more of an effort to specifically target travel publications and websites and blogs and things like that to write for them for money. So as of now, I have had pieces published in Horizon Guides, in Photos, in where else? In quite a few blogs like wearetravelgirls.com and bemytravelnews.com. And I've also had my work featured in Sauborna magazine, which is the South African Airlines in-flight magazine, and also in the Azamara Cruises website, just as like snippets and contributions that I gave to a larger piece. So I probably have already mentioned that I am a freelancer, which means that I'm not under contract or I'm not employed by any one publication or company, which means I am sort of free to pitch whoever I like, and when I do get approached for work, I'm also just free to work for anybody. That also means that I do not get a salary from any one place, and also means that I don't have a predictable amount of work every month. So say this month I worked on one piece last week, I might have no travel writing gigs for the next 2 months, and then I might have like 3 or 4 pieces to be working on or to be published the month after that. So that's sort of the way it goes. So you can be a freelancer like me, or you can be, I suppose, a staff writer for a magazine, a website, a media company, etc. I have no experience being an employee for any company as a travel writer, but I have always been a freelancer, which means you do get contracts and things like that just because it needs to be on paper, just, you know, different terms and conditions depending on the publication, and also what the pay is and the process of payment and stuff like that. But it's generally, it's not a long-term thing. It's like pertaining to that particular piece or maybe series or whatever that you're working on for them. So that's how that goes. So where and how do I get these jobs as a freelancer? When I started, I think that I kind of just bumped into my first few gigs on remote job sites and job boards and things like that. So Upwork was a big one for me in my early days. The way that I do it now, thankfully, because I have a blog that's sort of like a portfolio type of thing, a couple of gigs have come to me and people have approached me to be like, hey, we've seen your work, can you write this for us? One of the things that happened that way is Horizon Guides approached me to write a kind of general guide about traveling around Kenya, which is really cool, that they seem to have specifically seeked out a Kenyan travel writer to do that, which is kind of rare still. It's getting better, but aside from that, I might sometimes cold pitch publications, which means maybe there's something that I read and I have an idea for a story that I think would fit well with their voice or with a specific theme that they have. So for example, many places have like destination guides or stories about adventure, or I don't know, like hot takes, like opinion stories that have to do with travel and travel writing. And maybe I think my idea about the time I was here and this thing happened would go really well with your narrative section about adventure. So let me pitch them specifically. That'll generally be a publication whose work that I'm kind of familiar with, so I can see their voice and I can see how my story fits and my style of writing fits with them. So what I'll do is I'll go onto their website. Sometimes they have like a specific page where they accept submissions, or they have maybe the names of editors and everything. And what I'll do is I'll go on Twitter and look them up, and if they don't have it in their bio, this is where I accept pitches, then I'll tweet them and say, what is the best way to reach you? I have a pitch for you. Twitter is like everything. That's really become a game changer for me in terms of getting pitches. There are certain pages that I follow, for example, Writers of Color, also Dream of Travel Writing or something like that. Those two will often share different things. It's not always specifically to do with travel writing, especially from Writers of Color, but they will share different editors' tweets and calls for pitches, and sometimes they'll also share jobs. So if maybe a company or a publication is looking for a staff writer, because I'm not opposed to being like employed like that. Like a salary is nice, regular money, and you know how much you're getting and when. That's amazing, underrated, highly. So they'll tweet something like, hey, I'm the this and that editor, so like say the digital editor for this and that magazine. We're taking pitches between this and this date about this theme for our this issue. Or they'll say, just a reminder, I'm always taking pitches for this and this theme from writers of this and that profile. But yeah, Twitter is really a good place to find those, at least I find for myself as a writer, as a travel writer. But that doesn't only pertain to travel writing. It's any and every publication, and many different editors have found that they get many good pitches from maybe writers that they wouldn't be able to reach otherwise, because it's just, you can just search it. Search on Twitter is another thing, because sometimes I'll put in the search bar travel write pitch, or pitches travel, or whatever, and then I'll hit the latest tab, and I'll see who's tweeted something along those lines. And sometimes I'll get things that way. I'm able to directly email the specific editor that is the one who will be giving the story. If I don't hear back after a week, I send a follow-up email. If not, then I can't just leave it. Another way that I get gigs is I'm subscribed to quite a few newsletters. There is one called the Freelancer feed, which is Australia based, and so what they'll do is they'll kind of do like a roundup of different, not just travel, just freelance writing gigs. They'll do a roundup of that, I think, every week. And then because they're based in Australia, they also have like different media jobs within Australia, like after that. But that has nothing to do with me. So really I stay subscribed to that newsletter because of the different pitches that sometimes I've missed. Most of them they also get from Twitter, but sometimes I just haven't seen one. Or I just need a reminder and they're like, yeah, I should probably pitch that place that I saw. Another one, what are the others? If I think of any others, then I'll pop it below. Let's talk about that money. So how much am I making? It's all over the place. When I started out, I was taking whatever was offered, because one, I didn't know that you can and should negotiate almost anything, and two, I was just psyched to be now getting paid for something that I had been doing for free on my blog. Right now, after 4 or 5 years of experience, generally I try and keep my rates to 50 cents per word. That's USD cents. So if you're Kenyan, 51 per word. That depends on the publication. Majority of the time, I'm writing for publications that are Europe or US based, but there are people who are being paid $1 a word, and some publications who offer that. And actually, I have an idea for a pitch for one that pays that much, so wish me luck. I'm gonna write to them like today or tomorrow. But that being said, I do often take rates that are lower than that, because I'm very happy to have a certain story picked up by a certain publication. Like the last thing that I've had published a week or two ago, I took less than half of that for the amount of words that I had written, and that's because I really respect the publication, and that's a very good byline, or it's a very good name to have in my portfolio, and it's also exposing myself as a writer and my work and my words to a wider audience, because it's like quite an old, well-respected publication in the travel industry. And I feel like it paid off, or like the very day or the next day that it was published onto their website, I got like 3 or 4 different emails from all different sorts of people who were like, hey, I really enjoyed your piece, it was really interesting to me, and I've had a look at your other work and it's really cool, so good on you, keep going, which I love. Like the whole thing about traveling and telling stories, it's all about connection. So sometimes that to me is bigger than making my 50 cents a word or $1 a word or whatever. So I was more than happy to do that because it is this publication, and because I was really happy to get this story out. So dream publications and stories that I'd like to work on. I still haven't had a chance to write for Nomad magazine, which is a really beautifully put together and very inspiring Kenyan travel magazine. What else? Yeah, I'd like to get my name on Condé Nast Traveler maybe. What else? There's a publication, more like a journal called Places Journal, which is really cool. They publish very interesting, like very beautifully written work on there. I think that they do print as well, but I've just read their website, which is pretty cool. As far as stories I'd like to write about, just as many more epic train journeys that I can take. Before this happened, I think I would have been in Zambia right now, because I really wanted to take that Tazara train that goes from Dar es Salaam to central Zambia. I'd love to go on, the Trans-Siberian Express and write about, all the people I met on it, or like what the whole thing is like, things like that. Maybe get some coffee table books published, maybe work on something like that. Maybe work on my own book one day about, I don't know, lessons from the road or funny stories from traveling as a young woman. Okay, so you made it to the end. Now let's challenge each other. Whether you're interested in being a published or professional travel writer or not, writing, and of course photos and videos and things like that, but I really feel like writing is such an amazing way to hold on to your memories and to your observations. And there are times that I'll read out a page from like from like a travel journal I kept 4 years ago and be amazed at like the small things that I had forgotten, that I really felt like in the moment I was like, this is crazy, like I can't believe this is happening, but I forgot it, but thank goodness I wrote it down. So I propose a 5-day travel writing challenge. I will, if you'd like to sign up, I will email you every single day for 5 days a prompt, like a journaling prompt, for you to write, I don't know, maybe 300 words or something like that, of whatever that theme means to you. So maybe it'll be a certain picture, or maybe it'll be I couldn't believe it when. That's 2 of them. I've given you 2 ideas already. I'll just leave it open for like a while, and you can let me know when you'd like to start. But it's open if you're watching this 2 years from now. You can still sign on, and it'll start automatically, and you'll get an email every single day. You can put it up on Instagram as a caption in your story and tag me at freelancer. You can email it back to me. We can maybe, if you have a blog, you can put it up on your blog and email it to me. I'll be more than happy to share it on Instagram stories, on my own blog. And yeah, let's get our creative juices going, you know, because I think it's all well and good to rely on photography and on videos and things like that, but there's something specific, there's something special about writing that makes you kind of slow down and really think. So whether or not you think you're a good writer, whether or not you're interested in writing, or maybe just, you know, for esteem, to like think about the places that you've been to before, and even if it isn't the place that you live and grew up, and maybe this is a skill that you can use when we are able to travel one day. Again, one day, ooh, sounds far away. Anyway, if that sounds good to you, then you let me know. I will pop it in the description, and I'll also put up a blog post explaining it, so keep checking back if you don't see it yet. Sorry. And that's me and my travel writing journey so far. I plan on doing this for years to come. Maybe I'll get tired of it, or, you know, try to move my focus somewhere else work-wise, but as of now, I'm very happy being a travel writer. I would love more money, as always. I like money and the things I can do with it, like I said, to travel more, etc. But yeah, that's me. You let me know in the comments, was there anything surprising in this video? Are you a travel writer currently? Have you been before? Are you aiming for that in your life or not? And let me know if you're down to join this challenge, whether this is a job thing for you or not. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll toss you in the comments. Be cool. Bye.